Of Q broadcast. Of Q broadcast, it's taking the world by storm. People are cutting the cord to their high cable bills and moving away from streaming services like Netflix, Hulu, and others for something better. Q broadcast. For just $60 a month, you'll get access to every channel you could ever want, including HBO, Cinemax, and Stars. And the best part? There are no contracts, no hidden fees, and you're free to cancel anytime. With Q Broadcast, you can enjoy streaming live TV, movies, and top series on up to 5 devices at once. Whether you're at home or on the go, Q Broadcast makes sure your entertainment is always at your fingertips. Imagine being able to watch all your favorite channels from anywhere, anytime, without any restrictions. We're talking about thousands of movies, hundreds of TV series, and a huge library of live channels, all in one place. And don't forget video on demand and pay-per-view events. Those are included at no extra cost, so you'll never miss a big event again. Now, take a second and think about your current cable bill. You're probably paying anywhere between $100 and $300 every month, locked into long-term contracts and hit with surprise rate increases. With Q Broadcast, that's a thing of the past. It's just $60 a month. No contracts, no extra fees, no hidden costs, and no price hikes. Why juggle multiple subscriptions like Netflix, Hulu, and cable when Q Broadcast gives you everything you need in one convenient package? People everywhere are switching to Q Broadcast, saving money and getting more content than ever before. So, what are you waiting for? Click the link in the description and sign up for Q Broadcast today. Just $60 a month, no contracts, no hidden fees. It's time to take control of your entertainment and start streaming smarter.
We live in a world where men are told it's harmless. It's just entertainment. But let's stop lying to ourselves. Pornography destroys. It weakens your spirit. It dulls your drive. And it robs you of what real intimacy is supposed to be. Every click is a step away from the man you're supposed to be. We can't call ourselves leaders if we are slaves to a screen.
As someone that is prior service, I know all about discipline. And discipline isn't out there, it's within your mind. Porn rewires your brain, weakens your will, wrecks all of your relationships. It doesn't just stay on a screen, it invades your marriage, your confidence, and your actual purpose. As men, if we don't learn to discipline ourselves, we'll be ruled by our impulses. Now, it is time to stand up and take control before this silent war takes more than you're willing to lose.
Real men don't hide in the shadows of shame. We step up and we protect what's ours. We fight for our wives and kids, our own hearts. Twitter isn't just an app, it's a weapon. It's a tool used to break free and start living like the man that you're meant to be. The battle's here and it starts with you. You can stop living in shame and you can break free today.
Here at the Anomic Age, we know that these times of uncertainty are stressful. It is incumbent upon all of us to put our fears first and bow down to government tyranny. Gone are the days of freely leaving your home, working, and social interactions. In exchange for safety, we will trade liberty. At the Anomic Age, we understand. However, just in case you want to get off your knees and stop being a sniveling coward, check out the John Age Project at anomicage.com.
Meet Ann Morrissey, who is here with her daughter, Dareth. Dareth is 17 years old. Mrs. Morrissey, I don't have to tell you that most parents would be extremely depressed if their daughter came home one day looking like this. I assume that was your response shock, anger, depression? What was it?
I was extremely angry. I really went bananas.
Yeah, how old was she when this happened?
Possibly 13, 14 years old.
We're talking like it's a disease, isn't that?
Well,
Yeah. How did she explain it to you, Mrs. Morrison?
there was very poor communication until we went into counseling. And it almost broke up our family. But through counseling and Serena, I can understand it better.
What do you understand?
That she feels like she doesn't want to be like everyone else, and she wants to be her own person. And through the dress code and her lifestyle, she's expressing this. It doesn't conform with our rules, but we're learning to cope, and it's a very, very difficult thing. Extremely difficult.
Dareth, let's let you talk for yourself. You're from Long Beach, California.
I just can't handle being like everybody else because that's what everybody else wants.
Selling Real and Chevy.
Propagating truth in a world of lies. You are listening to the John H. Project.
Trust no one. Trust no one. Trust no one.
You found it. You're here. You're headlong down the runaway train that is the Anomic Age, and I'm your host, John H. Hailing proudly from the coastal plains of the Old North State, I will be your tour guide this evening as we take a somewhat satirical journey down the path of murder, destruction, mayhem, and the extermination of human life on this planet. A forced march into obsolescence thrust upon us by a global, Luciferian death cult of pedophiles. Let's see if this will work, folks. Let's see if this will work. Please check out anomicage.com if you've not already done so. Like all the likes, subscribe to all the subscriptions. PayPal.me/anomicage. Patreon.com/anomicage as well. Please consider becoming a patron. Buy me a cup of coffee. The Cash App. All that good stuff. I know it's the holiday season. I know times are tough. But if you can do no more, a little bit of Quan my way would always brighten my day and make things a little bit easier to pay for around here. Good grief. I do believe that the app, both the Android and the Android app and the iPhone app. Sorry, I was mind blown for a minute. They're both working. I spent forever and a day talking to someone in India the other day who was not the least bit helpful, trying to sort out the mess. There was just a notifications issue with the doggone apps. It's been a notifications issue for some time. I've battled with people for at least 6 months to a year trying to get this thing hashed out. Anyway, you don't care, I know. I mean, the people that have the app care, but long story longer, it's working now. So when I post shows, you should get the notifications. I know there's like tons of people that were kind of peeved that the notifications would show up and then not show up and show up again and not show up for like 6 months. But it's finally back up. It's finally working, at least last I checked, like 48 hours ago. Anyway, you didn't come here for that. Yeah, I know. You didn't come here for that. Maybe you did. I don't know. Maybe you came for a weather report because it's lovely outside in the coastal plains of the Old North State. I love it, man. I love winter so much. I hate the holidays, but I love winter. So it's darn near bearable. You can go outside and not sweat. You don't have to take like 6 showers a day just to wander around this nightmarish landscape of the Old North State. I flirt with the idea of doing another show. I've done several about how much North Carolina stinks, but I'm thinking about doing another one. The problem is just narrowing the scope as to like what to even cover. I mean, you could cover the joke level communist scum that make up the state of North Carolina. You could cover how the entire state is run by the mid-major cities that are, of course, controlled by the cult of academia, K through 12 indoctrination, college, university weaponization. You could cover Charlotte. I mean, you could do like Charlotte, the mini series. Like, how much does North Carolina stink? And we could just talk about Charlotte for like 5 episodes, probably. I mean, it's just ridiculous. We got that boob of a governor out last time. Of course, the people of the state were too stupid to elect Mark Robinson, who incidentally was on this show. And the smear campaign for Mark Robinson actually included a clip from my show, ironically enough. But nevertheless, the people of the state were too stupid to elect Mark Robinson, so we got this other scumbag in. But don't worry, because our former governors are now going to run, to be a state rep. What a freaking nightmare. And the sad truth of it is, folks, these bums will get elected. That's really the truth. Just so stupid. The control that the cult of academia has on the state is nauseating. As I've said many times before, this state stinks. The formerly great state of North Carolina, and yeah, we are California East Coast. I mean, that's what they used to say about Wilmington. We were Hollywood East. No. The whole state is California East. It is a... I'm going to keep this show without going into the cursing, so we're not going to do that. But yeah. It's just a blipping nightmare. But we should do a whole show about that one day. I just don't have it in me. It's just too nauseating, and it would run into like several shows. But anyway, speaking of running into several shows, there you are, here I am. We got to put this on the screen, right? Yeah, that's the one. So speaking of running things into several shows, the previous show, in case you missed it, was Crazy for Noticing. And we really chewed the fat aptly on that one. But, I love having these twice-a-week conversations with you folks out there. So thank you so much for tuning in. If I don't say that enough, thank you so much. I know there's people out there listening to me now for the first time. So thank you for listening to me for the first time. Love the Patriots Prayer Network. Thank you so much for Eddie for putting me on this. I like talking to new people, and it's just lovely. So thanks, folks, for tuning in. But as I said, there you are, here I am. The previous show was Crazy for Noticing, and tonight's show is Shamed for Noticing. So although we covered many of these topics quite aptly last time, I kind of left the show going, man, we didn't cover a quarter of what I had down for show notes. But so much of this really does kind of go into a lot of different avenues, and it's kind of hard to just concisely cover it all in one show. I mean, we've covered humiliation rituals on this show so many times, but again, we could do a whole series on how the life of the current American is nothing more than a just nauseating humiliation ritual, because that's really what's up. Excuse me. We've covered the Chinese version of the humiliation rituals before on this show, and I really do think that's kind of what this whole thing is. I'm trying to find what the devil this is. Oh, goodness. Sorry, I've got too many doggone screens open. So, yeah, and I was kind of looking into the Chinese thing a little bit more, and I didn't even know this. I should have. Well, I probably shouldn't have because I went to public school. But century of humiliation. The century of humiliation for the Chinese went from the 1800s to the early 1940s. And in that regard, that sort of language was not really the government shaming the people. It was just sort of China itself being humiliated, I'd say more on the global or national scale. But if you really look at it through the lens of America, you could probably use that same verbiage and call the center of humiliation what we're in right now. From 2000 on, we've been in this just free fall of humiliation. You could really dial it back to the 1990s, really, is when we when we really started doing the Century of Humiliation, like preamble, I guess, when you got old Billy Clinton in there and his boob brother Hills, the litany of dead bodies before they even got to office, with the two boys on the railroad tracks there and right outside of Mina. I mean, it was just so disgusting. So it could be sort of a preamble in that regard. I'm trying to find this one word, and it's driving me flipping crazy. Doggone it. I feel like I'm going to have to... I'll get these away where I'm trying to find this one word in my brain, and I just had it, and I don't think I wrote it down, so... Hysterical. Anyway, we did a whole God blame show on this, and now I'm like blanking on it. I need to start like dialing it back and start doing this show at 11. Maybe that's it. Hold your potatoes here a minute. Because I'm going to find this blasted word. God darn it. We might just have to go to commercial until I can find this stupid dadgum word. This is so stupid, man. All right, I know what we're going to do. I know somebody out there is losing their mind because I'm daring to do something just like this. I'm going to go to the actual video where we covered this mess. There we go. Struggle sessions, for heaven's sake. I had a whole show entitled American Struggle Session. Whew, man. Need some more sleep. It's been a long day, folks. It's been a ridiculously bad and somewhat long day. Anyway, back to the topic at hand. The struggle sessions. Yeah, we could do a whole nother show on that and just cover it from that sort of nuanced angle that we have not yet done so. But I really do want to get into this topic du jour this evening, shamed for noticing. Because it's one thing to call somebody crazy. And I think, it's a very dismissive term. We've heard this whole rundown, oh my goodness, before. And it is a dismissive term. It makes you relegated, and it dismisses what you have to say. So we know the conspiracy theory term, brought to you courtesy of the CIA vis-a-vis the almost mid-1960s to chastise anyone who dared to question the Warren Commission. We got all that one. And we had Dave Chappelle really discussing this. I can't remember if it was his dreaded Oprah interview where he was talking about how calling someone crazy was dismissive and relegating on it. We all know this before, but to say someone's crazy is one thing. But I think what goes hand in hand with this whole thing is the notion, is the notion that it's shameful to have questioning ideas. It's shameful to question the narrative. It's shameful to question 9/11. It's shameful to question the Warren Commission. It's shameful to question the motives of Vietnam, of World War I, of World War II. It's shameful to question this litany of dead bodies that has been falling since the 1960s. And this whole thing is not conspiracy. This whole thing is facts, folks. What's that book? Is it the last guy's name? Last name was like O'Neill. I can't recall his name, but his book, his first name rather. But his book was just an expose exposing the Manson murders and how the whole thing was obviously a CIA job. I mean, we look at the Operation Chaos, COINTELPRO, all these things that we've touched on before in the show. All this stuff's just obvious, folks. It's not conspiratorial. It's just factual. But for some reason, for most of our existence, all of my existence, people have been shamed for noticing. Not just that, but I mean, that's just kind of the obvious stuff. Shamed for noticing, right? And I'm gonna give you like a very basic example, and then we're gonna really unpack it, perhaps more than people really want to. I don't know. But I really do want to get into this example because when I was kind of, like jotting down extra notes and really formulating the premise of tonight's show, this is kind of some of the stuff that kept coming up to me. And ironically enough, anybody who watches sports ball, I know anybody, is going to criticize me for daring to have a life outside of the show and outside of conspiracy. Oh my goodness, I actually do watch things for fun sometimes. So I love basketball. I've loved basketball since I was a little kid. I always will. Truth be told, I think it's all a con, a hustle, a dodge, and a sham. I get it, folks. I get it. Nothing has been swept under the rug quite as quickly as the betting scandal in the NBA. That would probably be second only to the Charlie Kirk assassination. And then third would be Trump's alleged, put some big old air quotes, getting shot in the ear. All those things have been swept under the rug very quickly. So people don't even talk about betting in the NBA anymore, which is comical. Because if you watch any game at all, the first commercial you're going to see is a betting commercial. And there's a great book. People that have listened to me have heard this before, but the last name is Toohey. The guy did 2 different books, probably 3 or 4. I don't know. The first 2 is the ones I was listening to. The Fix is In, and then he did a sequel. And he was just talking about the obvious. Like, the fix is in, meaning all major sports are controlled by the gambling world. The underworld element. Ooh. That's what's up. That's what's running things, folks. But we're not supposed to know that. We're not supposed to figure this out. And then, like, 3 or 4 people in the NBA take the fall. And then, like, the ref from, like, 20 years ago, Donahue or whatever, took the fall. And everybody just, a hush fills the room. Nobody's supposed to talk about the big old elephant in the room that's breaking the furniture, defecating everywhere, and just ransacking the place. We're just supposed to pretend like it's all normal, right? Anyway, I say all that to say this. I couldn't help but notice everybody's having a cow. Holy cow. No. For the late, great Harry Carey. Anyway, everyone's having a cow about, goodness gracious. Yeah, those of you of my generation are going, Bart Simpson? Yeah. Anyway, having a stink about the Clippers being so doggone terrible. Well, they got part-time player Paul George. They got part-time player Kawhi Leonard. They got a bunch of nobodies. And they brought in a bunch of elder statesmen a la Chris Paul and sent him a packing home just the other day. But that's not the point in this whole thing, because in the grand scheme of things, nobody cares. Somebody pointed this out. Chris Paul's last shot was like 32 seconds or something. Again, showing you the symbolism, showing you the Masonic numerical values and all that jazz. Don't care. But my point in all this is, as this whole thing was unraveling, I couldn't help but keep thinking about this. And I know nobody else has the temerity, cojones, or dare I say, huevos, to mention this. But Donald Sterling. Remember Donald Sterling? Yeah. He was the millionaire, whatever he was, that owned the Clippers for a long time. I don't even know how long. Let me see. I have some notes on this whole thing. Man, he's 91 years old. Man, he's looking pretty all right for 91. Anyway, yeah, he started owning, first instance came in 1979, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, not my cup of tea, don't care. But the Donald Sterling era. He owned the Clippers the last time the Clippers were even remotely relevant. You remember that? Like 10 years ago. Okay? They've never been anything but like the JV team of LA for the Lakers. Sorry, that's just facts. But the point in all this is Donald Sterling. He was blackballed. He was forced out. He was not allowed to come to the stadium or basically do anything pertaining to the team. So Adam Silver, this alien-looking monstrosity, sadly a Duke grad, this alien-looking monstrosity that took the place of David Stern. He's the guy that basically forced Donald Sterling to sell the team, to get rid of the team, because he was not allowed to do anything or show up at the arena or anything else. I mean, this is like the most laughable thing I've ever effing heard. And by effing, I mean frickin' heard. Still keeping this show G-rated as much as we can. Anyway, so old Don was forced to sell the team. And why, you might ask? Because no one's a sports fan but you. Well, he was forced to sell the team because I guess allegedly or factually, who the hell cares? I guess his girlfriend, wife, I can't remember what the story was, I guess told on Donald Sterling for saying racial epithets because Donald Sterling didn't want his wife, girlfriend, significant other, whatever, to hang out with, I guess, the black NBA players that were around the team. I don't know, man. I got no earthly idea. And quite frankly, I don't care. I mean, that's the thing that's so asinine with so many of these incidences. I mean, you saw the same thing with Hulk Hogan. You saw the same thing with Dog the Bounty Hunter. You saw the same thing with several other of these people where you basically have a private conversation going on between people, and then all of a sudden, someone gets a bee in their bonnet, and they feel it necessary to reveal that you said something crossways about somebody sometime, some way, somehow, and oh my goodness, holy cow, to quote the great Harry Carey. And the ridiculousness of it is, folks, it's all shaming people. And somebody out there is going, oh, but John, they did stuff worth shaming for. Okay, I guess. I mean, at the end of the day, people can have private conversations and say anything the bleep they want to. Sorry, that's just real life. Here's another scary but true one. People can say things in real life to people, in public, that are unproprietous. Oh my goodness. They're saying so many racial epithets. They're saying the dreaded word that nobody can say. They might even put a hard R on there. Who knows? The point is, man, people can say stuff, and other people don't have to like it. That's just life, folks. Or at least that's just how life used to be. And I'm not condoning people calling people this, that, or the other. I just don't really care, folks. As I've mentioned many times on the show, as a real deal Gen Xer, I heard everything under the sun at school, folks. Come on. Heard everything under the sun. Heard all kinds of racial everything from everyone. And people just moved on. I mean, guys would either fight it out and move on. They'd end up joking at the end of the day. People would laugh their faces off and move on. End up, who gives a bleep at the end of the day? That's just life, folks. But we live in such a ridiculous mess now where people virtue signal and people get like shame currency or shame credits. Ooh, you better not do anything I don't like because I heard you say one time that, whatever it is, folks. And it's nauseating because it always revolves around various protected classes. Various protected classes. Who might they be, John? You're going to have to figure that out for yourself because I'm afraid to say. Oh, my. But for real, though. There's so many protected classes now, it's darn near hysterical. Who was the dude the other day? I can't even remember. It was some black dude who was getting all kinds of bad press for daring to call someone Jewish. Or was he at like a Dunkin' Donuts or something? I think so. This chap was working at a Dunkin' Donuts. And I guess he'd had enough of some guy and dared to say he's a Jew. Oh, my heavens. You would have thought the blood was raining from the sky. You'd have thought this guy just kicked this man's dog. You would have thought this dude had slapped his kid around or something. People, please come to me into reality. Come on. Come on to reality, folks. This is so pathetic and sad. But here's the irony upon ironies. So our greatest ally is clearly like the omega and alpha of protected classes now. I'm not trying to make aspersions on the Bible or anything like that. I'm saying that with levity in my heart. It's not meant to be blasphemous, Lord, I promise. But our greatest ally has become that. They've become the alpha and omega of protected classes. I mean, it used to be the blacks, and then it was the gays and the trannies and the LGBT elemento not so silent. My goodness gracious, they're all taking a back seat now, folks. They are all taking a back seat to our greatest ally. It is darn near silly out here. But in case you were wondering how we got here, I'll give you a little Cliff Notes version of the show, you know? I ain't going to give you the whole deal because that would take way more than we have. Shall we go here, folks? Shall we roll into this area? Here's how we got here, folks. We got here. We were ushered into this mess by the cult of academia. I coined this one, K through 12 indoctrination, college university weaponization. That's what it is. What it was, and what it'll probably always be, because nobody's got the, to do anything about it. But yeah, that's really where this came from. But if you want to go really even deeper into the pool, it's Frankfurt School. It came out of Frankfurt, Germany. It's the communist agenda that was brought here primarily into Columbia University also, and the University of Chicago. That's where this crap was fostered. And then this satanic disease spread to the rest of the university system and then trickled on down like Reaganomics, but better. It trickled on down into the K through 12. So it actually started at the college university level and it trickled on down to the K through 12, where we had everybody obsessed with Frankfurt School's very own critical race theory. But it wasn't just critical race theory, it was critical everything theory. And it was predicated on this the binary opposition of the proletariats and the bourgeoisie. You know, a la Karl Marx and Engels. So that's where this defecation really came from. So you had the proletariat and the bourgeoisie, and then it's like a beautiful shapeshifter because you can pull that string or pull that thing out of your rear end, and you can just apply it to anything. You can apply it to race, you can apply it to gender, you could apply it to sex, you could apply it to Cabbage Patch Kids. This was some more moronic bull butter I saw. I guess it was over the Thanksgiving holiday. There was somebody, don't say the bad word, griping and moaning about racism. It's racist again. It's racist again. It's like Comer Pyle all over again, folks. Citizens arrest. It's racist again. It's racist again. So, anyway, some Nimrod, ne'er-do-well moron, low IQ simpleton was griping and moaning that the doll of color was not as expensive as La Muñeca Blanca, the white doll. Holy shit. Holy catolis, folks. That was the gripe of all gripes, right? That was it. Your doll is cheaper and you're mad about it? Folks, please. Good grief. Can I get in on this racism jive? Because I'd like some jive that's por los blancos. I'm not into muñecas blancas, but I mean, I'm into other stuff. So, I mean, I'm into food. I'm into gas. I'm into insurance. You know, those bare necessities, those simple bare necessities. You remember that? If you know the rest of that song from that movie, you know he says, this calls for some... Yeah, Disney's sneaking in that Satan mess for decades, folks. If you don't know what I'm talking about, pull up the song, pull it up from that stupid movie, and figure out what he says. He says, something. This calls for something scratching. Anyway, I do that just to annoy whoever that person was that was irritated by me smacking and drinking on my own show. Folks, if you don't like what I'm doing on my own show, feel free to go find another show. Ahora, por favor. Pronto. Vale. Va. See. Anyway. Yeah, I mean, there's some lowbrow bleep out there. You'll love it. I mean, there's just some people that just cover the most moronic mess all the time. I'm sure there's at least 10 or 12 like million plus followers. They're pulling in cash cows over cash cows, and they're just showing cats falling off sofas and stuff. Like the dude that's, what's that clown? I mean, I'm sure he's a nice guy. He just keeps showing like these asinine clips of people like falling down at a workplace and like people doing the most idiotic mess at a workplace, and he makes like this face every time. And yo, dude, that guy's got to be making some serious quan. And I mean, that probably takes like 30 minutes to do. I don't know. He's probably doing it all with AI anyway, so it's not even him. But anyway, dare I say, there's lowbrow stuff out there. If you're not into this one, please, by all means, adios. Anyway, back to the point here. That's really where all this mess came from, folks. To the K through 12 indoctrination, college, university weaponization. But here we go, because there's one more that many don't dare say. It's the forced... Goodness, how am I going to say this nicely? It's the forced assimilation that came after the Civil Rights Act. And I'm not saying that assimilation is necessarily a bad thing. I'm just saying that it clearly decimated both populations. The populations of color and the populations of Los Blancos. Because it was forced assimilation at the barrel of a gun. Make no mistake about it. And I'm not saying that it shouldn't be all people living together, holding hands, skipping rope, and whatever. I'm just saying it fouled up everybody, folks. Because prior to that, you had thriving black communities that were run, owned, operated, controlled, and everything else by black people. And I guess basically overnight, that just got shut down to get down. Because everybody was forced to assimilate. Just the facts. And then, don't worry, it got worse. Because then, at the barrel of a gun, you had the forced assimilation. And then you had the great LBJ. You know, the guy who probably has something to do with the old assassination of at least JFK. You had his lovely plan where it was just money for the people, money for the people, money for the people. Of course, you had to be the right people, and you had to have no father in the home, and you had to have multiple kids by hopefully multiple parents. And then you had Nixon's war on drugs, which was the drug war, which was done to take more people out of the home and further foul up the neighborhoods. And then you had, of course, the ghetto. Who could forget that great song from, what is that, Talking Turd or something? Anyway, all that stuff just made things epically more fouled. And here we are in 2025, year of our Lord, where you are shamed, ostracized, cut out at the knees if you dare to even think about talking about it. Shout out to the great Big Reed from Philly. I'm gonna have to send some of these shows to him. He's never gonna watch them probably, but this gentleman is a black man from Philadelphia, and he covers this kind of stuff all the time. He uses a whole lot badder words than me. But I ain't mad at you. I ain't mad at you, Big Reed. Love your show. Love your content, man. I'm just happy somebody else is saying it. Somebody ain't afraid of getting shamed. You see, if you're a Blanco and say it, then they throw out all the big shaming words of racist and xenophobic and anti-Semitic, and people just cry. But if you're a person of color, then they call you a coon and an Uncle Tom and a hard R's and everything else is thrown at you. So I don't even know which is worse, man. It's kind of not even surprising to be hated by other people, but it's just downright sad to get hated by your own people. What a bunch of bull, man. This is old hat stuff, man. I knew this as a youngster, as a young whippersnapper from watching a great episode of The Jeffersons. Man, if you ain't ever watched The Jeffersons, you need to get on board. The Jeffersons are great TV. Anyway, there was a great episode of The Jeffersons where I believe it was Wheezy's Wheezy's uncle, I do believe, came there. And George was all too happy to call him an Uncle Tom, and I believe throughout the coon word and everything else, just disparaging this man. Because he worked for a white man, and he was well-to-do, and he spoke well, and he was well-dressed and everything else. And the crescendo of the show, I'm not breaking any big bounds here, but the crescendo of the show was, and it's a famous actor too. This guy's been in so many shows, I can't think of his name during it. Anyway, he basically reveals to George, Sherman Helmsley, that he is proud to be called an Uncle Tom because he unfurls the real history of Uncle Tom and how he was an abolitionist and helped blacks get free, and he did all this work for his people and his community. And the real nail biter, or the cuts to the bone, is when he says, "I'd never call you an Uncle Tom, George," intimating that he didn't have what it takes to be who that guy was. To fight for his people, to be well-dressed, to be well-spoken, to be a well-to-do man. You know what I'm saying? So that's really the deal, man. That's really the deal. And this show came out, I think this was like late 70s. It may have been early 80s, this episode. I believe it was in season 2. It's irrelevant. But more to the point is, it's shaming. It's shaming people all the time for noticing. It's shaming black people, it's shaming white people, it's shaming all people in between. There must be like a multi-level, heavily funded Candace Owens shaming racket going on right now. Because all over social media, it's all these clowns going, "Do you still listen to Candace? Do you still trust Candace Owens? Do you still blah, 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 blah." Who the hell? And here's why the shaming campaign's going on. And I don't even give a rat's patoot about Candace. I got the whole dossier on the girl. Yes, her origin story is she had a whole origin story of having an expose site where she was revealing who people were and where they lived or whatever. I just don't care. I just don't, folks. But, you know, flash forward where she is now. I heard Owen Benjamin, like, questioning whether she actually gave birth to 4 kids. I don't know, man. I don't really care. All I'm doing is looking at her content. Okay? I don't even like or love all of her content. But I will say this. She's actually asking the tough questions, I think. She's asking the questions that nobody else seems to be asking. She's actually trying to dig deep on this whole thing. And if Charlie Kirk's really dead, and if all that thing really happened as planned, if it wasn't some big AI scam, good grief, we all saw the chair go through the blipping table, okay? I believe nothing anymore. Zero. Settle. But anyway, if this has all happened as planned, she seems to be the only chick worth it that's even trying to figure this thing out. Which is probably why there's a pretty good disinformation campaign. You know, just saying. She's calling all the clowns out, folks. So, fake, real, or otherwise, I don't know. Same thing with this Mayo Yiannopoulos boob, man. I don't know what's up with him either. I got no clear read on him. I've seen the pictures of him and Laura Loomer like bloodied in some tub. That looks like some occult shaman ritual to me. He was clearly coming out as gay, and now he's saying he ain't gay and no more or whatever. I don't like Tucker nor him necessarily, but I'm going to play this one for you. Let's see if I can play this one for you. I don't know if this cat's on something or if he's just a goofy cat. I don't know. Check this out. See what you think. I'll just play this one for you. This is him on Tucker a couple days ago. Yeah, I know the whole story with Tucker too. His dad's CIA, Tucker wearing the little red bracelet signifying he's down with the special people that are the only people that matter. I don't know. Let's just listen to this from Milo. Here we go.
Oh, I know a bunch of them. Yeah.
Right, of course, you work in, and I used to work in conservative media, and it's all of them. It's everybody. It's everybody.
Oh, I know.
They're all faggots. They're all gay. All of them are gay. All of them are gay. Like everyone is gay.
I haven't said anything about it for like 30 years just because of my general Anglo commitment to not get involved in other people's business. But it's so noticeable. I just don't know clearly there's something going on here.
I gotta cut it for the laugh. I can't take the
know
laugh.
a bunch
I
of
can't
them.
take the laugh. Please don't laugh. No, Tucker, please. I can't take it, my man. Just can't take it. Do not do the laugh. Okay? Anyway. So, I don't know what I think about this, man. I do think that there's a whole lot of truth to what he's saying. Whether he's gay, straight, or otherwise, I don't really give a rat's. I don't know how many bracelets dudes should be wearing, but I ain't down with Tucker wearing the red bracelet of Israel. That's the weirdest thing, man. You look at some of these cats, all these dudes repping some weird jewelry. Man, I got a wedding ring and that's it. I've tried to get into watches. They annoy me. I'm not into necklaces at all. I'm not into anklets. I ain't into nothing else, folks. I got the wedding ring and that's it. At some point, I wouldn't mind getting a watch again, and I'll try it. I mean, I'll just try it. I gotta say, they just annoy me. But anyway, back to this shindiggity dig, huh? He's making a pretty good point. He's calling out the Republican Party for having a whole lot of small bundles of sticks around. Again, shamed for noticing. What's old Milo there? Milo boy, that boy there seemed to be the golden boy for a minute. As long as he was flying the gay flag, all the Republicans, he's our, And then you see the same sort of thing with various black figures that show up on the Republican side of things. They immediately become the best thing in the world, a.k.a. Talmud Tatum. He's another one. You know what I'm saying? So I don't look at people through this demographic lens, even though I was taught that through K through 12 indoctrination, college, university, weaponization, and then some. I mean, that's what you get taught, folks. It's disgusting. It's disgusting. We shouldn't really be looking at each other through these asinine lenses that have been thrust upon us by the Marxist satanic death cult known as critical theory. That's the thing with critical theory. You get points for being a victim. I did a show like 4 years ago. I can't even remember. The yellow badge of victimhood, I believe is what I called it. Something like that. Great graphic by yours truly, by the way. But anyway, it was just that. It was talking about it years ago, talking about you're getting the old school version of a social credit score, but it's a victim credit score. So it's not predicated on your worth. It's not predicated on anything even remotely to do with your... Speaking of which, we're going to have to play this one more time. One more time. I love this one too.
How are American politicians able to act on behalf of a foreign nation against its own citizens and not be considered treasonous? Because everything is fake and gay.
Hey! What do you say?
And we obviously have this whole idea in America as a meritocracy. Anybody can...
Exactly. That is the problem. It's not a meritocracy. And one of the problems in America is that we live on this sort of mythos. This mythos that everybody gets goosebumps at the Star Spangled Banner and the raising of the flag. And this mythos of the greatest generation. This mythos that there's a gun behind every blade of grass and everybody's some sort of patriot. It's lies, folks. It's a blipping bunch of turds. That's why I keep playing this video. That's why I posted this video probably like 20 times. I can't believe I haven't got some ridiculous strike or something yet. But that's the point. Because everything is fake and gay. Folks, it's fake and gay. Okay? It is that old Hollywood, you know? What was that great Sam Kinison bit? Oh my goodness, man. I probably can't even talk about it. Oh my goodness, I can't even. No, it's a great bit, but I can't get into it. Anyway, Sam Kinison did a great bit on a gay actor in Hollywood that forever was like this hunk leading man. You know, I cannot think of his blame name, and I'm gonna do that stupid thing again where I flip out and can't find it. Can't find the guy's name. And he died of AIDS. Oh my goodness. Rock Hudson. Thanks, stupid internet. Rock Hudson. Yeah, that was the one. He did a very adult bit on that. But the problem is everybody is too afraid to say anything that might hurt someone's feelings. Anything like, you know what, the Civil Rights Act, not a bad move, but it really screwed the black community. Don't you think? Just a little bit. I mean, you look at the mess of today and you go, I don't know how this came from. That's the stupidity of it all. Like, people are expected to look at the mess that we're in and somehow just go, I don't know how it happened. Well, I don't know. It's so comical, man. It's like AJ talking about the globalists forever, but refusing to actually give credit where credit is due. And I think you know who. It's just like, what? Here's some crime statistics. 13% of the population. I mean, the great John B. Wells mentioned this so long ago, and I always was like, that's a pretty blame good point. It's been 13% of the population for my whole life. How is that possible? But then you got to factor in like the largest demographic aborting their babies is the black community. But this one, 13% of the population allegedly, and 52% of arrests for violent crime. We're talking about black males. And every time you look at anything on social media, they show these ridiculous scenarios of people fighting each other. For Christ's sakes, there's a whole website dedicated to it. World Star Hip Hop. I don't even know how this is still allowed because you could never do this por los blancos. That'd be racist because it's racist. I mean, good night, nurse. But people have been like pigeonholed into this nonsense where they're shamed for reporting statistics. And I know the old quote, there's lies, darn lies, and statistics. The Mark Twain thing. I got that. I know it, folks. I'm well aware how the social science world manipulates statistics. Okay? But at a certain point, you got to call the truth to truth. Even if you're shamed for it. That's what's so comical, folks. People are shamed for it in every demographic. But yet, the people that toe the company line are exalted for it. See how that's just completely deranged? And I suppose you can only, question or besmirch your own people, but then again, you can't even do that. Isn't that crazy? I'm convinced that was the shtick with Cosby from 20 years ago when he was telling black youths to get a job and pull up their pants and speak well. And the things that Cosby said 20-some years ago before he was blackballed as the most villainous man alive. And I don't think any of that stuff's right. Please, don't get me started. Of course it's not right. But you also have to look at the people and the time that they're in. In the stupid realm of anthropology, it's called historical particularism. That's actually a thing. It's straight out of the Frankfurt School. It's straight out of Franz Boas. It's straight out of anthropology. So they call this historical particularism, where you're not supposed to compare one time period from another and say, oh, my goodness, they did X, Y, and Z 50 years ago. What in the world? Those people are all racist and heretics. But I guess that only applies if you're studying some random culture across the sea. It can't possibly hold water in your own culture. It's just really bizarre. Really, really bizarre. So, let's pull out some of these other ones, because I wrote the most ridiculous list known to man of things you can't criticize. You can't criticize anybody that's black. You can't criticize anybody that's a woman. You can't criticize anybody that's gay, lesbian, pedophile. Because after all, the new, well, it's not even new. They've been pulling this for years and years with NAMBLA, the Gay Boy Love Association, or whatever this mess is. They've been pulling this card out for years, and it's almost taken root that this isn't a crime, it's just a condition. What? You mean being a pedophile, floor-flushing piece of pond scum's like having sickle cell? No, it's not. That's horse patoots, folks. That's horse manure. Anyway, also, folks, you can't criticize. Of course, you can't criticize our greatest ally. Here's some other ones you can't criticize. You can't criticize trannies. And I don't even know why you can't say trannies anymore. The word trans comes from trannies, comes from transsexual. I mean, that's the root of the blipping word, folks. It just makes no sense at all. But what else you can't criticize? You can't criticize fat people. You can't criticize fat people. Like all this stuff, folks, all of this stuff has just been normal society for generations and generations and generations. And it was not always mean-spirited. It was just like, hey, buddy, you put on some weight. What the freak's going on? Hey, pal, you ain't rolling with me wearing a dress. What you doing? You know, like, this was just normal behavior. So they have convinced us through the monikers of crazy and through the ops of shaming, they've convinced the vast majority of the American people to go against like generations and generations and generations of, dare I say, culture. My definition of culture is just what people do within a particular group of people. So it's weird, though, because the Frankfurt School has convinced a vast majority of Americans to go against their culture, their normal beliefs, folks. This was just everyday life. That's why I love those shows from the 70s. I love All in the Family. I love The Jeffersons. I love Sanford and Son. I love What's Happening. I love all those shows because they pulled no punches, folks. Everybody was just normal. And here's another obvious one. There weren't like brutal street fights over a word. Because someone would say the same to them and it'd be like some back and forth. And at the end of the day, like I said, it wasn't a big thing, folks. It was just life. People say disparaging things to people all the time. But it doesn't matter, I suppose, unless you're like not in any protected class. Then you're just screwed. Then you're just persona non grata. And you're like the fair game of fair games. That's why they have polar bear hunting parties. And you see these various white folks just getting beat to death all over the place. And people just sitting around going, I can't say anything or I might get shamed. Don't say it. Don't look at it, Bob. Don't look at it. It's just the weirdest predicament that our society is in. And it really stems from weakness, but it's weakness based on conditioning. So a right not exercised is definitely a right lost. That's obvious. But I would also say that the conditioning, the mental factors that go into to shaming people, that's really what it boils down to. It's mental factors. And you could look at cultures like the Amish that do shaming, and it's done for, in my humble opinion, the right reasons. So that's what I was saying before. I mean, shaming is not a bad thing. It's just part of life. So when you, well, I mean, again, it's so weird to talk about this because it doesn't happen anymore. But used to, you know, people would catch flack for just being a whore. Not anymore. Now there's a whole channel. Well, there's multiple, but there's a whole channel where whores just take to the internet. And they're rewarded for it. They're whoredom. That's weird. There used to be a time when sex out of wedlock and having children with no fathers or multiple fathers and all this in between, that was frowned upon, folks. But we got taught and sold a bill of lies. And this all got peddled and promulgated through the cult of academia. We got the magazine Playboy. If you know the history of that, it's CIA all the way, folks. I did a great show with Dr. Reisman before she passed away. I'm trying to think of this guy's name. He's from Indiana University. She did so many exposés. Alfred Kinsey. Thank you. Alfred Kinsey. She did so many exposés, books, documentaries, everything exposing this pedophile piece of pond scum, Alfred Kinsey, who put out 2 books which were really like the primers for the sexual revolution of the 60s. 2 books talking about male sexuality, one talking about male sexuality, the other talking about female people in prison as their quote-unquote subjects. Statistics skew just a bit. They were getting pedophiles. They were getting gay men in prison. They were getting this sort of real highbrow scum. And the crux of it was all just predicated on pedophilia and predicated on open sexual relations with anybody. That's where this came from, folks. There's another guy, his name's Dr. Money, if I'm not mistaken. He did the same sort of grotesque experimentation with two different boys, which he cut off their genitalia and made them trannies. One kid overdosed, the other kid suicide. Disgusting, folks. But it was all in the same time frame, late 50s, early 60s. Same thing with Playboy. Late 50s, early 60s is really when it got its wings. And this all just became the norm, folks. The counterculture was a counterfeit counterculture, promulgated by the Tavistock Institute and CIA. The anti-war movement and the hippie counterculture was nothing more than COINTELPRO, Operation Chaos. So if you're wondering where all this came from, it came from the mythos of America. And we're still living and basking in the mythos. We're still living in the music of that era. I've done so many shows on this. We've talked about the music of 60 plus years ago is still popular music. That was never a thing until the 1960s. Because the youth culture was created. It was pulled out of nowhere because there was no youth culture. It was you're a kid, you graduate high school, you go into a job, you go into the military, you're an adult. Not anymore. Now we have this just preponderance of infantile, asinine behavior. Really is what it boils down to. Infantilization is really what it is. You're treating adult people like infants for just decades upon decades now. But so much of the society and culture has played into that. So it's not just one thing. You can't just look at that one thing and say, oh, it's a Kinsey book. Oh, it's Dr. Money and his tranny research. Oh, it's the Jews in Germany that were doing the tranny stuff. It all really culminates. But so much of it is Frankfurt School. So much of it is out of Germany. So much it is the greatest allies. But there's so many other threads that you can pull in this too. It's a perfect storm. That's why I was talking on the last episode just about, the year 2000 and what that really meant. Because we all got sold one bill of goods, but we were given something completely different. Everybody got the Y2K, the Mayan calendar. It's all going to end. Dogs and cats living together, raining blood. None of that. But we definitely got a cultural shift. And it was a cultural shift that I would argue on par with the 1960s. That decade of debauchery was a huge cultural shift. So what we've seen from the year 2000 onward has been an epic cultural shift. It's been a huge technological shift. It's been a false flag, a false flag, a false flag, a false flag. Trauma-based mind control, trauma-based mind control, trauma-based mind control. Every few years, there's another op. And it really does seem to be what Art Bell discussed so long ago, the quickening. Seems to be everything is speeding up. You live a year now, it seems like a decade. And there's no good posts anymore. Have you noticed that? Every time there's a New Year's, you see these sort of dark satirical posts like, oh, we made it through this year. And then the next year is showing up. It's like a train, So there's always some like macabre, morose, just dark humor of like, man, we made it through this hell. Don't look now. Like that old Embrace song. It's the end. What is it so? It's the end of a great big year. There's another one coming, something like that. It's saying just that, folks. And that's the sort of dark satire that we live with now. And it's because things really are that blipping bad. Sorry, I hate to break it to you. Things really are that blipping bad. And I'm sure that like my audience is full of people that are, just reeling in big money. Everybody's doing great. Everybody's going on 5-star vacations. Everybody's got 4 cars in the garage. Everybody's got a summer house, a winter house, and a house they just live in occasionally, Sure. Telling you folks, it ain't like that for the normal people. And I was really close to doing a show tonight on how much I hate the holidays. But I'm gonna hold that off for at least one more show. I'm gonna do an expose on the holidays in general and how they are actually meant to just keep you and control you even more. We'll have to save that for another time. I don't know if we've covered all the things shamed for noticing. So much, folks. I mean, everything now is just multi-level gaslighting. You run on a policy of exposing Epstein. You run on a policy of arresting Hills. It's all Boulder Dash. And nobody even blinks. Nobody even is like seemingly upset. It's kind of like, oh yeah, they lied to us again. Oh well. It's this really weird thing on the right. And it's the same nonsense on the left. They just haven't realized it's the same thing yet. But it's really weird where it's like both parties are called crazy for admitting the elephant in the room. And they're also shamed for admitting the elephant in the room. It's like, it's the duality thing that I talked about before. Because on the right and the left, if you call out your own party, you're a heretic, you're an Uncle Tom, you're a, whatever the word for traitor is, a poser, you're not really on the left if you don't love abortion. You're not really on the right if you don't really love going to war. Like, you don't really love that it's the Department of War now. I mean, you're just not cool. It's like the psychology is like such simpleton middle school tactics. It's really bizarre, man. It's like the whole thing, when I was a kid, it's like the starter jackets and the Billabong jackets and the pumps and the Air Force Ones or whatever. It's like, you're not cool if you don't love the Department of War, John. I mean, you're questioning Trump that he didn't get shot in the ear. Like they pulled the stooge out of the woodshed like 6-7 months after the alleged shooting, and he's like back in the news again. Everybody notice that? Like, we haven't heard butt kiss about this boob 6-8 months, and then it's like, oh, look at this guy again. Look over here. I got some shadows on the wall. It's like we live in Plato's allegory of the cave. We live in this bizarre cult-like nonsense where you have to follow and subscribe to your party's bull, or you get called crazy, and you get shamed for noticing. Shamed for noticing anything. That's just the beauty of it all, man. If you don't fall in line with the black thing, if you don't fall in line with the white thing, if you don't fall in line with the I hate the Jew thing, if you don't fall in line with whatever it is, then you're just not hip. You're not in the know. You didn't know. You didn't know Hitler was burning pedophile books, man. I can't believe you didn't know that. Like, what the? And it's that same sort of pretentious hubris and arrogance that just nauseates me. So this is another pet peeve of mine. I'll send people, family, friends, whatever, information sometimes. Oh, I heard that. I already found that. I already heard about it. It's like, and it's that same sort of thing where it's like, oh, you didn't know that the pedo books were the ones getting burned. It's like this one-upsmanship of one-upsmanship. It's like, you can't just say, oh, man, that's really interesting. Instead, it's got to be shaming somebody for not knowing something as quickly as you. I mean, I thought the whole point of doing alternative media shows was to actually reveal things to people that didn't know. Like, who wants to be in an echo chamber? Who wants to be in, like, just the audience of, like, yes, 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 yes. It's like that old episode of the Flintstones where Barney and Fred, I think the Great Kazoo, like, creates body doubles of them, and one can only say yes, yes, yes. The other can only say no, no, no. It's comedy, but I mean, that's kind of where we are as a society. Yes, yes, yes. No, no, no. You can't inform people anymore because it's this bizarre one-upsmanship. Well, I heard about that 20 years ago, man. You didn't know. You didn't know Alex Jones did that like 20 years ago, man. Oh, my goodness. Or the other guy, it's really the other guy, Hour of the Time, Milton. Milton did it before that. Newsflash. There's a great guy in the 60s that I have a recording of that did it way before that too. And then there's the other guy that did it way before that too. That's the news for now. You know, that guy. Mm-hmm. Anyway, folks, please try to be better to each other. I think that's the point of this whole flipping show tonight. Stop calling people crazy. Stop trying to shame people for having a different opinion than you. And stop trying to one-up people for having information. You're supposed to share the information, right? That's what you're supposed to do. It's not just share the good news. It's also share the information that you have that others might not have. And somehow on the right, especially, it's like people don't compute with that anymore. It's so bizarre. It's like you can't say someone's retarded, but you have to treat someone like they're retarded if they don't know, like, the information that you know. Which is totally counterintuitive and insane. Instead, you're supposed to help people that don't know that stuff, right? That's the whole point. Instead, it's like, haha, you don't know what I know. Instead of like, I want to help you to know more. I want to learn more. I'm not a demigod of virtue and knowledge. There's tons of stuff that I don't know. Tons of stuff you don't know. Tons of stuff that we can all learn from each other. So please stop trying to call people crazy and shame people. And somebody else going, it's not the right, it's the left. Okay, if that's what you think, that's okay too. But eventually, you might have to admit that it's the right. It's the right, it's the whites, it's the blacks, it's the Jews, it's the Muslims, it's the Christians. It's all of them. They're all doing the same idiot mess. And none of it's actually Christian. That's the funniest part of it all. It's all pharisaical crap, folks. It's all the legalism and pharisaical crap that Jesus was like, hey, you know, this is horseman. I'm not doing this, guys. I'm flipping tables. And now on the right and the left, everybody's like, oh, don't flip the table. Don't flip the table on the left. Oh, we got to go left. And the people on the right are like, don't flip Trump's table. He's our savior. And we're Christian. It's a wide world. It's a wide and wild world, folks. I've gone over time. You can't do everything, but you can do something. Get out there, do your part, make a difference. I'll be seeing you sooner than later. By that, I mean on Tuesday at 11:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time in the Anomic Age.
Thank you for listening to The Anomic Age, a John Age project. For past shows, further info, and to comment, go to anomicage.com. That's ANOMICAGE.com. Till next time, thank you for listening to The Anomic Age.